Okay, well today I'm going to do a little bit of a piano tuning because it's that time of year again. I don't mind if it goes a little out of tune unless I'm going to do something, and then if it goes out of tune any time other than the time I tune it, I'll quickly do it. But this year we didn't have to do that. Had a lot on my table, a lot on my plate, had to do a lot of stuff. But I'm now going to tune the piano, and I'll give you an idea how I do it. Right here I have, it's probably the least you can get by with, unless you don't mind tuning your piano slightly out of tune by ear with tuning forks and fourths and fifths, and some guys can do it. It takes a lot longer, but hey, I'm not a professional, meaning I can't do it in 2 hours or less. Sometimes it takes me a couple of tries or a few tries at an hour or so each. So here's what I'm using. It's a Korg Orchestral Tuner, and it works just fine. You tune it, you turn it on, you hit a note like D, and it tells you where you're at. Right now it's telling me that D4 is sharp by about 10%. Or in piano tuners lingo, 10 cents. 10 cents too high. So that's not just one string, that's all 3 strings we have to correct. So first of all, I'm going to put I'll turn that off for now, but we have to use what is called a temperament strip, which actually, and here I'll give you a bit of a better look. Okay, I'll just show you a little bit about this Korg Orchestral Tuner OT-120, and then believe me, I love this thing. It's great. It looks like whatever I'm saying is almost in tune with 440. I don't know. I think maybe I have 440 just coming out of me somehow. But anyway, let's see how the first A is doing here. The A note. See, when I listen to a note and I hear it sounding really still, to me it'll sound still if it's in tune with itself. And what I mean by that is on most of the strings there's 3. And what I mean by that is apart from about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 16 of the lowest strings are single strings. So when I hear a note that sounds still, and this doesn't sound quite still, and it's showing it on the tuner, that it's slightly flat. This is our second A. And as you can see by the output or the screen, it'll show you what note we're on, which is A2. Now it's close, and it's what they call a bichord, so there's 2 sides of this note, or 2 strings you have to actually tune. It's actually the same string on these bichords. It says that you're pulling it up from one side or the other. And one side will be the note lower or higher than the other, and the other one will be the opposite of that. So anyway, very close, so that's a good sign. Now I'll go right to the 5th, which is an E. And it looks like it's just going a little high, which is what is normal for this time of year. Your piano will go higher in the winter and it'll drop in the summer. So in the winter, what we got to do is lower the tone slightly and fix all the others that aren't right. So here's the Here's the fourth. It's a little bit on the low side. Yeah, just ever so slightly on the low side. So anyway, I'll put this down and I've got to get to work here. So the first thing that we need to do here, we use this temperament strip. It's made of felt. And we get it going in between all the strings here. So that it deadens the two on the outside and leaves the center one in the center. So the idea here is that we put this in on both sides of the string. And what it'll do is it deadens this outside one and that outside one, and it leaves that center one ringing so that we can tune all the center strings first, going all the way through the temperament. That's what we call this part. And so we all simply you got to hold it down when you press it in, at least the way I'm doing it, otherwise it keeps pulling them out from the back end. So you got to press down hard when you're pressing it in, and that gets it going in there like that. Press it in here. Hold the thumb down. I like to hold the thumb down here, and because if you don't, it just pulls it out of the back as you're going. So press it down on each one in the middle and press on the other side, and just basically snake this thing all around all them strings. On smaller pianos like this one, the higher ones are easier to do up here, but with these smaller ones they can really be a bit of a challenge to do, because of the fact that you have very little room now to move around in there compared to a tall one, right? A high back piano as opposed to this, which is a not so high back piano, and there's a name for it too. It's just, I'm not going to try and teach you everything or tell you everything all at once, because number one, I don't know everything. Number two, that's a good place to start with your attitude. And number three is do these steps. Start at the beginning. And just take your time. You've got to have patience here. You're not going to learn this overnight. It's going to take you a while. And that's about as far as I need to go, really. A couple more, actually, maybe. But there you go. So now, got our temperament strip hooked up, and now when I play the strings or the notes, The outside string is now muted. I'll just mute it like this. And the inside one will now okay, I'll start with F with my tuner. Tuner's pointing at just around 10% too high. So just by rocking the handle, right? I'll demonstrate by letting you see. See, this is an older piano. It hasn't had the proper run through, which is to basically clean all the bearing points. I don't know how to do that very well yet. So basically we've got a light going on both sides at the same time close. But as soon as I talk, it wrecks it. So here, I'll shut up for a minute and I'll show you. Here we go. See, what we have here is a string that is not resting properly against the bearing point, therefore it slightly keeps changing. Oh, that's pretty good, right? It's close. But that is a string. Okay, so the thing here is bearing points is where the string goes around underneath all of this, and it goes in circles around a bridge pin, basically. I've been through this a bit and have discovered that a couple of my bridge pins actually are kind of like bent. So that's a different story for a different time. Right now all I'm going to do is tune the piano the best I can without doing any work to it. And I've done this on a couple pianos and had good results with. But boy, I had to do it with kids playing and the TV going, and just playing the key hard and holding it and just keep repeating over and over quite a bit. And it's very difficult to tune a piano when there's noise going on in the room. But I've done it. And yeah, it doesn't turn out to be perfect, but it turns out to be a whole lot better and playable. In a lot of cases, that's all you need. Can I just play the thing, right? Okay. Okay, back to this. Still leaning towards the high side, but it's doing all sorts of... To me, that sounds closest. Start by playing the octave lower to that and the octave higher to that. Like, we'll play the lower one, we'll play the higher one. It's okay, we're in F, right? Okay. Okay, the Korg OT-120 does come with its own adapter, and I'm going to plug that in right now just so that we get a whole lot of time rather than using up the batteries. And we'll just plug that in. There we go, now we got full juice. Okay, so gonna drop it down and bring it back up. Looks pretty good. We've got bearing problems. Bearing point problems would be the bridge pins. I think the bridge pins in this are kind of a lower quality, and this thing's been around for 30 years or so. So anyway, all right, and I figured, but I've got this piano, and I figured, hey, I'll figure it out. I'll figure something out. I've been tuning my own guitar for years. I'm at the point where I can tune my guitar just by playing all the strings open and listening without even hitting the 5th fret and all the harmonics. So, yeah, this is going to be called How to Tune a Piano Without Fixing It as Best You Can, by ear and with the aid of a electronic tuner. Now, I'll just take you to the piano here for a sec. So I like to go octaves and then fifths and fourths. So that's an octave. Here's a fifth. There's a fourth. And so fifth sounds good. See, you get that nice chord sound. Here, just a minute. So that's an octave with a fifth. So that sounds about right. Now we're going to go the fourth. So we'll go fifth and fourth. Here's the lower side of that octave. Here's the higher side of the octave, which... So you can hear it more when you're on this side. You can still hear it there, but it seems to blend in with the lower F note. So, the octave, fifth. I can tell there's still something off there. That would be the C note. Pluck one side first. Well, that's wavering in there. Wavering around in there. Here's the other side of that bichord. That side's higher, and that side is too high, so. So now I will trace this string, the one that is higher. You can see that's the higher one. Here's the lower one. The lower one's closer, so the higher one, we'll just trace that right up here to this peg. Put my finger on it for a sec. Come over here, put that on, closest to 12 o'clock as I can. And slowly drop this note. And now the note it's hanging around there pretty good. Right around the perfect. See, once again, because of the bridge pins and the bearing points not quite all right. We got some bridge pins that are bent, some that are loose. We're not getting a perfect note. But as long as you can get it to settle down at some point within there, and as it fades off at the end doesn't do things that make it seem like it's going too high or too low. I don't know how to exactly explain it, but you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, it's pretty good. Okay, there, it's... It's still a bit low, it says now. At the very end. Anyway, that's how I figured that out. And once again, now just after a minute or two, final check. Don't overpress them like a madman, but don't be afraid to put a little force onto that key, those keys, to make it ring. And it looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to take the octave, the fifth, and I'm going to take that fifth now and turn that into an octave. And keep the fourth, which would actually have been the root note on this one, right? I'm going to take this one now, the fifth, and go. It's close, right? But as you can see, something's not quite right. Okay. So it seems to be slightly lower than it should be. So I'm jiggling the hammer very, very slight, small little. You gotta get a good hold of it, you know. And when you get this in perfect tune, it's so important not to jiggle the pin as you are pulling the lever off the pin. It's actually called a tuning hammer, but it's like a lever. So it's going flat at the end after a couple seconds, right? So just a tad. And I heard a little small tweak in there. And that's looking so close, I'm going to leave it. As long as I can play the note hard. When you don't play the note hard, then if you play it hard later, it's going to make the string move again and go out of tune. So play it fairly hard with one finger, but pretty darn hard. And we now have that note's good. So that with the other note now. That sounds like a pretty good F chord, right? F fifth. Here's what I mean by not jiggling the pin when you pull it off it. Because you're going to hear something now. You're going to hear the note, and then you're going to hear me correct it slightly by just tipping this slightly on the pin. Now listen to this. The tuning meter says it's slightly high by about 1 cent. Well, okay, it's 3 cents too high at first, and then as it settles down, it goes high. So just by jiggling this pin, we're changing the note. So that's what I'm talking about. Them pins are strong and sturdy, but All it takes is a little moving on here when you're letting go of the lever to throw it out of tune or to keep it in tune, depending on how you're doing this. So this is what I've learned anyways. The nuance of the slight movement of the pin. Right in there, it was perfect, just after about a second and a half. Right there. See? So I'm going to be happy with that one for now. So now I'm finding, I'll play the chord, the F, the fifth, the next F, the next fifth, all together. You know, again, this whole thing probably needs bridge work really bad, because the bridge pins are the bearing points, and I think they're moving around a bit, and a couple are bent or something. That's for a different time. This is all about doing the best you can with a piano that might not be in perfect working order. So here we go. That's saying it's pretty perfect now. So. Aha, see, it sounds like there's less going on wrong, and that would be the movement or the beats per second. That it's a totally different thing, guys, but if you can just tell if something's wrong by listening to it, this will help. It's a little high still, so I'll play the chord. With the chord playing, see, now I have to travel up with the fifth of the F, which is a C. I have to travel up the C's now and get the next two C octaves rhyming right, while I'm going up with the two F octaves rhyming right. And the F octave is, of course, one octave ahead in structure of the next one that we're doing. Because we are now on the first chord of the C, which is the C fifth. Well, not with that. That's the C fifth with the fourth. Here's the C fifth. Now I'm going to go ahead here a little and be very careful as I'm pulling this off. And find that pin right in the middle. And the Korg is telling me it's way too high, so see, this actually seems stiller as it gets closer. And here I'll just go. Sounds pretty good so far, so. Okay, so now I'm in here somewhere. As I was playing the long version, the long form, or say, of the chord. 'Cause that's pretty long, right? I mean, here's a short version of it. Here's another short version of a chord. So what I mean is the long version. We're going to throw a couple of octaves into this. And when I'm playing that chord, I listen for the notes that aren't sounding right, because yeah, there's going to be a couple of things going on here. Number one, our bridge pins aren't holding properly. So it's an older piano, and we're trying to figure out how to get this to sound right. In general, this is getting a little high up here in a couple spots. That's just what I can tell. Because to me, that sounds pretty good. Right? Like the fifth, the fourth, and the fifth from the F. We'll do a fifth and a fourth. So we've got it. And there's a little bit of a problem going on with this, but this is how we're going to do it. Slowly go up to scale, creating an arpeggiated kind of a chord, and we'll use fourths and fifths and eventually thirds even to just make it sound better. And so the note that I found wrong was this one. This is the next one I'm working on. Now I can use the sustain pedal and hold on the notes, and then I can let go. So, but first of all, everything quiet. Press down the sustain. We're going to, okay, because we're going, here is the F fifth. And now I'm going to throw a fourth in. And I'm hearing it's kind of neat sounding, you know, kind of close. But my Korg tuner is telling me it's slightly high. So I'm watching here. And it'll show me. This piano needs a bit of work, but it's okay. I'll make it sound better. You'll see. So anyway, here we go. One more time. It's reading that it's a little bit high, a little sharp. So find that right spot here. Get that there hammer on here. I'm just kind of even massaging this handle kind of in a way, right? But pressing upward generally, or off just, what is it, 108 or 90 degrees off of, anyway. By doing this, we're loosening the pin, believe it or not. And down comes the note. Just about perfect. We'll stop there for a minute. Heck, I'll even fool around for a minute here now. And I now come to the third of the fifth. which, I mean the F5th. That's not, no, it's not a third of the F5th, but it now becomes F3rd. If you can get it. And if you can get it, we're going to go from F5th, and we've gone 4th, and I'm just going to play between the 4th and the 3rd with the F5ths first. See, that doesn't sound very nice in there, eh? Now we got a problem there, but we'll fix it in a minute. First thing is we're doing the 5th. And we're throwing the 4th in. And the tuner's telling it's still a little high. Sometimes I'll just use just that little bit of my baby finger there to give it a, you know, better bounce without, you know, wearing out my fingers. And that's reading perfect now on the Korg. There's nothing wrong with that note whatsoever. If you've got a tuner, you can probably check that right now while watching. You know, it's close. Let's just say this is better than a totally out of tune piano. And probably going to sound pretty good. So. Now I'm going to play with the 3rd, F3rd. Okay, first of all I'm going to go downwards now because I want these strings to be tightened in a way so as to cause less warp effect in the back plate here. This metal black back plate actually can move so slightly, ever so slightly. So we're going to now start going backwards from our F2nd octave up back to the 5th, which was the C, and we're going to find this bass note on the C. Okay, because there's the F. Pretty darn close. I mean, like I said, it's an old piano. So now we're going to hit the C. Okay, C. It's a little low, so. Now it's pretty darn close, right? Little low still, so. While holding down the note. Pretty close to perfect. So we'll now play Now we'll play. And I can hear right now that this note is too high. So carefully now, without bending the pin or even making the slightest movement of the pin, I'll move over to here. The meter even tells me it's high, so for some reason we just got to get this right. Things are bending here in the plate, believe it or not, just by what I'm doing. Now when I'm playing a chord, I can tell it's just a tad slight high. Slight high. But no one's going to notice. It'll probably loosen off. So it's very close. Sometimes this stuff just gets so finicky you can't do it right. And they'll, you know, it recommended that you rebuild the piano at that time. But we're not gonna. You're gonna really stubbornly go along here and get this thing to sound good by itself, even if it has to be totally in tune with itself, right? Because it's either that or we're throwing the thing out. So. I've done it. And that sounds pretty still, eh? So this doesn't have as much of a bridge or bearing point problem as the other strings we've been working on this morning. Like that's a fairly still, level tone. So good. And so, we now have 3 F notes that are in pretty much perfect tune, with the 5th going on in here. And as you can hear, it sounds a lot better than it did. So that, all I can say is I'm using this Korg tuner, and now this is the note I'm working on. Now watch. See, it's high at the beginning and it drops off to low, so there's a bearing point problem on this note. I'm going to tune it down slightly. It's very close now, see? Now I've gone too low. It's a bit of a bearing problem. A bearing point problem. Probably a bridge pin. So I'm just going to try and give it just a couple of little tweaks here, but I don't want it to be anything you could visibly see, because it's such a small amount we got to tune here. You don't turn that pin very far. Quite often the pin bends, and it has been bent through years of tuning, right? You don't see the bend. But it doesn't get much better than that. So there you go there. So, you know, I'll just generally start trying to play longer and longer stretches of notes and keep them all sounding good. Basically starting from where I did. and we'll see how we go. Now we'll start working with the sevenths. And another little try here. That's the one that ain't quite right. Middle C. It's for some reason it is now high. But this is what I'm talking about. Apparently, when you're pulling on these strings and loosen them against with all, because there's so much pressure here. Yeah. So it went out of tune. Don't freak out. Just come back to it. Got to go lower than it and bring it back up, but don't go too low. No, my mute wasn't working right. Just a minute. I knew something was going wrong. Of course I did. Just, you know, I'm taking her easy here, though. Not getting excited. Really? Now I can see on the tuner it is definitely where it wants to be low. We're a good 20% low. Another good way to hit the key a little bit harder is just use those two fingers like that instead of one. Anyway, yeah, because you have to hit them pretty hard. The dampers in this thing aren't working right now either. See, it should let it go right away. Anyway, that seems to be holding a pretty solid C. Now, one more time. It's not quite, it's got a bearing point problem again. Go. Sounded pretty still, you know what I mean. You don't hear a lot of nonsensical type of tone coming out of it. To me, it just sounds when there's things are out of tune, right? You hear things in there that aren't right. The closer it gets to being right, the stiller. I hear a bit of movement on this one. Not there. In fact, here. That's kind of that's a narrow or a wide oscillation. This is going no. This one's going. This is going. And this one's going. If you can hear that, then now you're onto something. Okay, let's keep going, looking for sounds that don't sound right. Well, it just happens to be the one we're working on. And that's just wavering slightly high. Like 1 or 2, but it's wavering, so I'm trying to figure if I'm going to slightly bend the pin to seat it, which I think I'll do. I'm going right back against the force of the string into that string, and that's it. I'm leaving it like that. Perfect. And then now carefully pull it off. That's pretty good. Let's hear that chord again. Definitely sounding pretty nice, you know. This is my favorite change now, is from that to this one. Anyway, without getting too crazy, let's just try. Where's everything else right now? Let's see. Trying to get things going on inside the chords that are matching up and sounding in tune as we go up the octaves. Something wrong there, but keep going. See, we had our F's good. Now we're going up and finding all the other ones, and it's going to be fun. You'll see. Really fun. Wrong there, but okay, so we're gonna now go to this one, which is the G, because we've done the F. Now I don't know if that's why, but we've done F, and now we're gonna do G. We've done F and C down to here. Now we're gonna go C and G, and we can hear already there's a little bit of movement going on in there. Kind of fastish, faster, and that's a little slower. We've got 3 notes right now that we're going to work on, so that's next. And by going fifths and fourths, that's how we're going to find out how to get the G in tune now with the F. So anyway, now I will entertain myself with some playing around with the C, the C or the F, the C, the F, or the G, or all of the above in all different combinations. Sounding pretty good for an old piano, man. I'm just gonna have to fine tune it.